Take a look. It's March 27th, 2024. Look at us. Look at me. Look at you. Look outside. Look at this. In the weeds. Look at us.
Look over there. Look up.
Look over there.
Look down.
Look down. Look all around. Jeremy,
Look at you now, Joel.
Look at us now.
Look at you now. Huh?
Look at us. Huh? What else can I say except I'm welcome.
You're welcome. I'm welcome.
I'm welcome. You're welcome. Look at us.
Take a look.
Take a look. We were talking about this off the air. We were so close to just superimposing that as the intro this morning, but we realized we would get demonetized so fast and copyright struck much faster.
Yeah, I put together a supercut of the look at you now, and then with the take a look setup, and someone was like, that should be the intro for the show. I'm like, nah, we're gonna get hit with a quick copyright on that one. So
should it be? Should it be? Yes. Can it be? Yeah. Absolutely.
No, you can just go to my social media if you'd like and look at the take a look at you now supercut.
I said it before we started. I'll say it again for the audience. The Rock is actually just a really big Phil Collins fan. He sat there and he sat at the piano with Phil and he was like, how about take a look? Oh, and Phil's like, oh, it's a good idea. How about take a look at me now? And The Rock's like, yeah, take a look at me now. And Phil's like, no, take it down a bit. We'll call it Against All Odds. And I'll be like, no, that's a TNA show. Anyway.
Rock doesn't know TNA exists. Although he appears on the program.
He inducted Ken Shamrock into the Hall of Fame. He knows about it. He is very well.
Well, I mean, let's go back and rewatch that. Does he mention TNA once in that promo? Or does he just,
My favorite thing that came out of that, I don't know if you remember this, but someone pointed out that he was wearing and in the exact same place for that induction as he was when he did his I endorse Joe Biden video.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Exact same clothes in the exact same spot. It was like, all right, Rock, we're gonna do one for Ken, and then we're gonna do one for Joe. And then Rock was like, oh, what am I doing for Ken? And they're like, oh, you got to induct Ken Shamrock. What? When? For what? TNA. For who? All right, well, let's just get this in one take.
I'm sure he filmed other stuff. He just had a stack of papers of here's your cameos you got to do. I don't think Rock was on Cameo then, but he just had, he just got all of his run sheets for the day, and he just stood there and just knocked them all out. Rock's a one take person. He doesn't need multiples on this stuff. Just does it once, repeats himself 300 times, goes on from there.
Look at him now, and look at us. Why haven't you left a thumbs up yet? Go ahead, leave a thumbs up on the video, and of course, subscribe to us here. Fightful Overbooked. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, doing this show. Better than Busted Open. Tell your friends. We put up all the memes now, so if you got memes in our Discord over on Fightful Select, we will more than likely use them for promotional purposes. And also donate a super chat. Any message, question, or statement read on the air, which we appreciate as well. We are very excited. We're going to have Chris Masters, Chris Adonis, as he's known these days. He's going to join us at 11 a.m. Eastern. Not 10:30. That was my mistake. He's going to join us at 11 a.m. Eastern to talk about the upcoming WWC show. That's in Puerto Rico. It's going to be Camino a la Gloria. That's Glory Road.
What is this accent?
Yeah, once in a while I nail it. Anyway, Saturday, March 30th, they're going to be doing that show. He's got a long and storied history with Puerto Rico. I think it's really cool. We're going to talk to him about that, and of course, his WWE run. We'll ask about the Peck dance because the fans want to know. Fans were asking in our Discord, so we're going to ask the questions because that's what you all have wanted to know about. We're not going to ask about the Balco thing. Stop asking. We're not going to do it.
Tyler says, feeling a long-ass Busta Rhymes bit coming. I did create, there's that Chris Brown song. Look at me now. Look at me now. I'm getting paper. I did put The Rock's Look at You Now to that song because that's the only, every time The Rock was like, look at you now, it's the only thing I can think of is that friggin' song, Chris Brown, Busta Rhymes, Lil Wayne. So I decided to see how that would mash up, and it works out pretty well. Again, I don't think we could play that because monetization. I don't know. If I clip that to 8 seconds, could we play it?
I would maybe just throw it up on socials and leave it at that.
Oh, once again, but now I'm trying to get people to follow me on Twitter. I don't want to do that. Don't follow me.
And put it on the Select Discord. Just upload it there and let the people on Discord see it.
Well, we don't have the. I mean, I guess. All right, is everybody on Discord? Everyone sign up to Fightful Select and just be on Discord.
Really, it's the only reason you need to be on Select. Like there is nothing else that will sell you on Fightful Select other than not the Discord. Like, no, our channel on the Discord is really the reason why you should pay $5 a month.
That's fair.
Yeah, there's other content. Like we're not just saying give us.
I don't go to the other channels.
I do the TNA one since I do the post show. I keep people interested, but like then it's not like we do scoops and stuff, but like we do. But the point is, if you go over $5 FightfulSelect.com and like you get on the Discord, you get access to the best channel, and that's ours. The other stuff is there. We're not going to just fleece you for $5. You get content, but ours is the best content.
We might fleece you for $5.
We could, but I'd rather they just do that here. We can just fleece you here, give the money at the door, and just give directly to our cause.
Leave a super chat.
That's really what we're getting at. We're poor, and Easter is coming.
Do the plugs.
We did the plugs. I already did them.
Did you?
Yeah, did it.
Did we do thumbs up? I didn't do the thumbs up.
You didn't. So let's leave a thumbs up on the video. It's Point to the Sign season. They're currently building the sign and the stage. So
Cody had everybody point to the sign. He's like, everyone, come point to the sign.
So our friend Zach Haydorn, who is from Brass Ring Media, he's been on the show a couple of times, especially when wrestling goes to Chicago. He was at Raw this past Monday, and he tweeted out before the show even started, people are already here pointing at the sign. Should I point to the sign? And I said, absolutely, Zach Haydorn. What are you doing? You should be pointing at the sign. And then Cody Rhodes cuts his promo, and he says to the crowd, everybody point with me. And I immediately tweet him out, and I say, Zach Haydorn, are you pointing at the sign?
Did he?
He says he didn't. He's too professional.
Coward.
He comes from the Wade Keller School of Journalism. So like I understand not wanting to show bias, but also point to the damn sign. Point to the sign. This is the one time of the year where it's okay to point at the damn sign. Jeremy absolutely froze, and that's kind of the best part of this bit. You're back.
Yeah, I'm back. Cowardly.
Can't believe it. Why would you have the chance to point to the sign? Chat, would you point to the sign if the sign's right in front of you? Moreover, AEW comes to town. You're at the show. Are you pointing to the banner for the next pay-per-view? They bring it to every show.
That's not a thing.
Why not point to the banner? Why not make it a thing?
I mean, they should. Honestly, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Raw Will Ospreay should be doing it.
I mean, everybody does the spray. Everyone should do the CEO dance when Mercedes comes out. You want to do it, Joel? Go on.
No, but I'll let you do it. Yep. Okay. It's a good point. This is why you have to do it now. The Raw in Ottawa in July. They're not going to have that point, the sign to point at. So you got to take advantage now. You got 2 more weeks to point at the sign. If you're going to the shows, point at the sign. Do the CEO dance, I guess. CEO. You wearing a Reds hoodie?
Yeah.
CEO. You always been a Reds fan? I'm going to guess no, judging by the hoodie.
What?
Have you always been a Reds fan?
Yeah. I've had this hoodie for a while now.
Oh, I mean, I believe that you have a hoodie, but I have a lot of stuff that I wear that I'm not a fan of.
I don't do that. I don't wear hoodies of, especially sports teams that I'm not a fan of. Baseball is like my least favorite sport. It's the one I pay the least attention to. But I've been a Reds fan for a while now. I'd have to double check with my friends who got me into baseball.
I mean, I'm a hometown guy, so the Jays. Also, there's no other team in the country, so kind of had to pick that one.
Hey, Joel, breaking news.
Colorado Avalanche lost last night.
Well, that unfortunately did happen.
Breaking news.
AEW returns to Las Vegas for Memorial Day doubleheader with Double or Nothing and Collision.
Wait, what?
What?
No, I'm just kidding. Double or Nothing on the 25th and 26th. Sorry, a Collision on the 25th of May.
Yeah,
Double or Nothing on the 26th. They're going to the MGM Grand Garden Arena. No T-Mobile for them. And then Dynamite.
Is that a bigger venue or a smaller venue? Truthfully,
smaller. MGM is 10,000 max, and T-Mobile is a hockey arena, so much larger.
Oh, AEW in the mud, I guess.
It's over. I'm sorry, guys. We had a good run, 5 years. I will be on the AEW post show next Wednesday, so it's over.
Are you on the AEW post show?
I'm doing the AEW post show and the SmackDown post show as of right now. Next week, not this week, but the following week.
Why?
Because like 99% of our roster is going to Philly.
Oh, that's right. That's true.
So, hey, who do you call? The only guy not going to Philly or writing on the website.
I'm not going to Philly, you know?
Let me, again, the amendment was also not writing on the website. I don't do recaps.
I used to be called upon to do these things, and now they don't even give me the call anymore.
I secretly hope that Sean asks you to do one of those 2 shows with me, because it would just be the bloodiest brawl of a conversation for us.
We should do the AEW Dynamite post show. Who's doing it? Pulowski?
So no, I don't know. I'm assuming Alex is going to be back. He's on vacation this week, but I'm assuming he'll be back next week. And if that's what's happening, me and Alex doing a post show has never happened. That alone is monumentous.
I should show up.
Monumentous. You should. And then
I'm sleeping next week, so
that's normal. I'm used to you not sleeping. And then I think the Friday is going to be myself and Alex Cardoza, because that's just what we do. We enjoy each other's company, he and I. So that'll be fun.
Okay.
You're going to go to Vegas for Double or Nothing weekend?
Absolutely not.
It's the weekend before my birthday.
Well, so
I
have to go out there.
That's fair. Dynamite will be at the Kia Forum on Wednesday, the 29th of May. So the Wednesday following Double or Nothing. And then Collision debuts at the Acrisure Arena in Palm Springs for a special taping on the 30th. Oh, they're going on the 30th. That's the Thursday they're going to tape in Palm Springs for Collision. All right.
Joel, bigger breaking news.
Oh my goodness.
Smashing Pumpkins frontman Billy Corgan will get his own Club Random podcast, and Limp Bizkit singer Fred Durst will host a show about UFOs and conspiracy theories.
It's just one of those days, Jeremy.
This sounds amazing.
It sounds so awful. I don't even know how to feel about this. I mean, listen, normally when Billy Corgan's name comes up on a wrestling show, it's, selling something. In this case, why isn't he selling the NWA?
Oh my God. I'm going to write this article and just like the most amazing headline is coming out of this.
Do you want to give the people a taste of what you're working on?
What do you mean?
What the headline's going to be? Do you want to tell the people now what we're doing with?
Oh, I don't know yet. I gotta see how my brain. It's probably not going to be anything like super spectacular, because just the headline of Billy Corgan and Fred Durst to host UFO and conspiracy theory podcast in and of itself is a headline. Like, you don't really need to dress that up with anything funny.
That is true. You really don't. It all writes itself. Very poorly, but it writes itself. Anyway. We have a lot to talk about, I guess.
Do we?
Well,
we gotta talk about this UFO and conspiracy theory podcast.
No, let's leave that. Let's leave that to the Jerichos of the world. I don't want to touch on this one. Jericho's going to be on that podcast so fast. He's already made the calls. You know he has.
Oh, and that's the headline. Is like, you don't need to do anything fancy with Billy Corgan and Fred Durst to host UFO and conspiracy theory podcast.
Yeah, the SEO's already written itself in.
Yeah.
You got 100% on Tube, buddy, just on that one alone. Oh, God. That's so strange. Now I'm like, hey, I could go to Vegas for Double or Nothing. I just have to play that stupid Vegas slots game that I played to get free hotel rooms, and then realize that they're probably going to black out that weekend, and then not.
Oh, it's on the Bill Maher network. Oh,
That's even weirder.
all right. So I can put that in there. So Billy Corgan and Fred Durst to host UFO and Conspiracy Theory podcast on Bill Maher network.
You're just not only dropping names, but you're just hitting every wrong channel you can in that. Oh, that's awful.
This is amazing.
Oh God, who sent you? Who am I kidding? Who sent you that? That's a press release.
Nobody sent me this. I'm just good at my job and I pay attention to the news, Joel.
Yeah, it's a presser. I get it.
It's not even a presser. I mean, it kind of is. I guess it's on Variety, but
oh, there you go. It's Variety.
Yeah.
Did you have Billy Corgan under your Google search terms?
No, Joel, I'm just good at my job.
Well, everyone's good at something. I'm just trying to figure out what makes you good at it.
I have a list of news outlets that I have put. Literally anybody can do this. This job is so easy, Joel. Don't tell anybody this. This job is super easy. All you got to do is you just got to want it. You just got to pay attention and you got to want it. And 90% of people don't pay attention and don't want it.
That's fair. Listen, as long as you're enjoying it, that's all that matters.
Well,
you got to start somewhere, right? Gonna get that big ESPN Falcons news desk gig. Shout out Mark Raimondi.
I like Mark Raimondi. He seems like a nice guy. Never talked to him.
No. I'm not disparaging him. I think he works very hard, and I think he deserves the recent upgrade in work he has received. Anything's better than covering wrestling, right?
I mean, fair.
The Anaheim Ducks also lost last night, so I feel good.
Whatever. We're trying to get hockey and basketball people on. The basketball people be fascinating to come on to preview the NBA playoffs with you sitting there talking, looking like just a deer in headlights.
Yeah, I'd have nothing to add to the conversation. You do hockey. If we're going to do the NHL playoffs, a little less, but there are certain people that I want on this show who are hockey fans talking about hockey going into the playoffs.
There's people I want on the show too. Well, we're going to try to get some hockey wrestling fans on there. CM Punk, everybody.
You know what? Did you see? You saw that Jackie Redmond took Jey Uso to the game, to the Blackhawks game. Hawks won, good for them. But other than that, not much else to say about the Blackhawks this season.
Yeah, they got Connor Bedard. I mean, they'll be good as early as maybe not next year, but definitely the year after. They'll be good.
In 2011, I said the Sens were going to get better, and here we are, 2024, not much better. So,
well,
sometimes it just doesn't work out. But anyway, the point is, if you know of any wrestlers who are big hockey fans, leave it in the chat or leave it in the comments, because we need to know. And yeah, we know CM Punk. Another one we know of, Eric Young, absolutely huge Preds fan. I mean, there are other Preds fans in the area. Miro, of course, is one of them. Hopefully he's still a Preds fan. But yeah, if you know of anyone wrestling-wise who are big hockey fans, let's talk to them. And of course, we know Jackie Redmond, of course, because she worked for the NHL as well.
Good talk, Joel.
Thank you. I'm just trying to get the engagement of our people, and then you just kind of decided to do work on the air instead.
I mean, when a Bill Maher and Fred Durst and Big Dick Billy Corgan podcast enters the realm, you gotta cover it.
No, you don't. Nah. There are so many other things that could be done at this hour.
Nah.
Oh yeah, Butcher's another good one. See if Butcher.
I would like Renee. She's a Golden Knights fan though, and I don't like Golden Knights fans.
I've been to a game, so I got that going for me.
Okay.
Like I've been to a Golden Knights game, so there's that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. No, Louis really does hit it on the head. Like using hockey for engagement seems counterintuitive, and it is. Fair. It is. But like, here's the thing: I'm a Canadian. I don't know any better, and Jeremy is a sadist. So here we are.
A sadist?
Just talking about hockey with wrestlers.
Oh. Yeah, I think it'd be really fun. I mean, we'll talk wrestling a little bit, but who cares?
Will we, though? I don't think Bailey's a hockey fan. She went to a couple of Sharks games.
She might be. I mean,
we want people who are like talking about it. Like
yeah.
Brody Lee, God rest his soul, would have been perfect for this. He
Oh.
was a huge Leafs fan. He's someone that would have been a fantastic chat for something like this. So that's who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people who wore their fandom on their sleeves. That is, and yeah, that's the CM Punks and the Eric Youngs of the world. So you know, those are the people we're talking about, not people who have made a promotional appearance for one of the local hockey teams when the TV came to town. We want the people who are consistently showing their fandom. Bailey, 49ers, absolutely. Bailey, San Jose Sharks, a little less so.
Do you think we could get Punk if we laid out the rule of like, we're literally only talking hockey? We won't ask any single wrestling question. We will only talk hockey. You think he'd do this stupid show?
I don't know. It depends when it would be because the playoffs are post WrestleMania, so maybe. That's my whole thing is like if he's out of the whole Mania stuff and he's just back to being rehab and not, you know, consistently on TV, he might be willing to do something like this, or WWE might be willing to throw us a bone and be like, hey, if he wants to do it, let's do it. But if it's like we want to have him next week, then the answer is absolutely not.
Why? He's doing a bunch of media stuff next week. He should show up.
Yeah, not with us. Not with us.
Cowardly.
We can ask, but my feeling is you're better to get him post Mania than you are before. Listen, I love our show, and I think we're better than Busted Open, but we don't have the same reach as them yet. So Punk can go on Busted Open instead. Talk with his best pal, Bubba Ray.
When we get weekly Tony Khan appearances, that's when we can stick it to Busted Open.
We made it. We got to start making calls, getting that going. We can do it. I swear to God. Sami Zayn is a good shout. Huge Habs fan. Sami Zayn. Love to have him.
KO. I imagine KO. He's a Habs fan, right?
One would assume, unless Christian Cage is another one. Christian Cage, a huge Tampa Bay Lightning fan. Of course, Adam Copeland, a huge Toronto Maple Leafs fan. So
I think Caden suggested we have Copeland on. I was like, he's never coming on if he's actually listened to a single second of the show.
Well, that's the thing about Adam Copeland. He absolutely has not listened to any of this show. Someone might smarten him up if he were to make an announcement on his socials and be like, really? The Jeremy guy hates your guts. And I'll have to play damage control for so much of that. Jeremy, is this true? You don't like me? I'd be like, well, yes, but I like your hockey take. So here we are. Could you imagine that whole thing blows up in our face because you don't like Adam Copeland?
I don't mind Adam Copeland. I don't like his wrestling character.
That's what I'm saying. You gotta separate the art from the artist.
Yeah. We'd probably have a good chat with old Cope out there.
If there's one thing a Toronto Maple Leafs fan works on, it's coping. So it works well that his name is Cope. Oh gosh. Anyway, want to talk about Raw?
We can talk about Raw if you would like.
We got a little over half an hour until our good pal Chris Masters joins us, 11 o'clock. Why is he a good pal? Because
I don't know why either.
Because he's doing this show. Have you seen his hair? His hair is beautiful.
It's long. I was very surprised.
I had seen it go long lately, and I was like, well, what are we doing here? We're gonna ask him about his hair.
Yeah, that's my first question. Is like, what was the decision to grow out your hair like this?
This is where people come to get hair scoops. Garrett Borden, are you keeping your blonde hair? Yes. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't care at all about like the wrestling stuff. Like, why is your hair long all of a sudden?
This is what I'm here for.
That's what I want to know.
Oh man. So I want to do Punk Rollins and McIntyre a little later. Let's do Rock Cody because that was
look at you now, huh?
Look at us now. Look at you now. That was definitely something out there. What do you think? There was a lot going on here. You had a lot of the internet sleuths after the first segment. Rock comes out, doesn't say a word on the microphone, turns to Cody and says something you had to mouth read to get, lip read, and it was, I'm gonna make you bleed tonight. It's effectively what he said. And of course they do the whole like, you know, go ask Cody if you want to know what I said. And then Jackie Redmond asked Cody, and Cody's like, I can't do that. And I'm like,
well,
why?
he said I can't do that. He said, but it's a promise like The Rock can keep, which made you think like, oh, what was it? Well, The Rock kept his promise.
He did. Look at us now. We all thought he was telling Cody he knew what was in the lockbox.
Yeah.
But turns out it wasn't the lockbox. It was making him bleed. This worked for me. But again, the problem is now I'm looking more forward to Cody versus Rock than I am Cody versus Roman Reigns. The Rock's
Well, you'll get Cody versus Rock in a tag team match.
Yes, and then does it feel to you like we are on the road to doing Cody and Rock somewhere down the line?
Yeah. So here's my suggestion, Joel. That people aren't gonna like.
I am not gonna like this. Why did I ask?
Rock loses night 1 to Cody. Then night 2, it's no bloodline interference. No interference at all. Roman wins night 2. Roman defeats Cody Rhodes night 2. And then Roman chastises The Rock. It's like, you almost blew all this up for me. I've pitched this story a lot, but I'm going to pitch it again. Here's the new twist. Not really new, but more layers to it. Because Rock is making my point for me here. The way Rock is handling his business, this isn't how Roman moves. He's moving in different ways than Roman typically does. So Roman is like, what? You came in here. What are you doing? You're loud. You're boisterous. You're attacking this man backstage. Look at you now. Look at you now. You're going after the man's family. Wait, this isn't how the bloodline moves. This isn't what I built over the last 4 years. You almost ruined it all. Then you do Rock and Cody at SummerSlam. Rock wins. And then you do Rock and Roman at WrestleMania 41. And Rock wins. And then you do Rock and Cody at WrestleMania 42. And then Cody can finally finish the story. Whatever.
Wow. You definitely went
to Roman winning at WrestleMania 40. I think it's hilarious.
Foresee that. But the double agent stuff is starting to become less likely in my brain. The whole Rock and Cody are pally pals. Unless Cody was like, you gotta beat me up real good, Rock.
I never understood that with the conspiracy theory. Where's Fred Durst? I never understood that with the double agent stuff of like, oh yeah, you got to take one for the team and really get beat up type of thing. It's like, that's dumb. There's other ways to go about this. You realize, right? Like, you don't have to make them bleed your own blood here.
No, you don't. It goes a little too far, but it's like, we got to make it convincing. That's kind of where the other side is. But also, like, I wouldn't hate The Rock staying heel while Roman goes away and comes back as a babyface eventually. I don't think The Rock's going to stick around too long after WrestleMania, but I think if we're going to tell the story of Rock and Roman, feels like Roman's going to be the babyface in this story because The Rock is very convincing as a heel and also arguably a lot better in presentation, because what's The Rock as a babyface? The Rock as a babyface is just weird, slightly homophobic and commentary that is just not, because he'll make off-color remarks and doesn't really fly these days. Whereas like heel Rock, while agreed, not always the best, I'd rather hear "look at you now" 100 million times than
babyface Rock isn't doing these beatdowns and everything.
Come again?
Babyface Rock isn't going to do like these type of beatdowns and stuff.
Well, that's it. Well, this is all that's the conspiracy theory stuff now, going back to that. But if I'm saying you keep The Rock as a heel and he was always this way, then you got to get your way to Roman and Rock after this. And it feels like Roman would be the babyface for this. They would have to find a way to, because he hasn't been going nearly as hard in this story as The Rock has been to get heat. Roman's heat has just been cool, laid back Roman standing there telling you all about how he's going to beat you up.
Rock wants to be cheered, though. Rock wants to be cheered.
He does, but I think
he wants to do babyface stuff.
But I think he's really enjoying something like he did last night, or Monday night, as it were.
I mean, maybe. I'm sure. I mean, he is. He's enjoying the heel stuff, but he wants to be cheered. At some point, Rock's going to be a babyface.
Yeah, that's inevitable. The question is, does it happen before the match with Roman? Or does Roman go, or does Roman become that babyface? Does it end? Maybe Rock Roman ends with both men playing it off, well, not playing off, but both men hugging each other after the war and being friends, or not friends, but at least respecting each other. And then the next night, Raw after Mania 41, Rock comes out, cuts his babyface promo, rides off into the sunset because people like him again.
What, you're confusing me now, Joel.
Okay, what I'm saying is when you get to Rock and Roman, let's say that's at WrestleMania 41.
Okay.
Then The Rock and Roman Reigns, it feels like The Rock would continue on as the heel.
At WrestleMania, after WrestleMania 40.
After WrestleMania 40, The Rock continues to be a heel, and maybe this whole thing about the conspiracy theory with Fred Durst of having The Rock be Cody's double agent, maybe that's not the case anymore. Maybe that isn't the case, and The Rock is just going to be part of the night 2 match and screw it up or get taken out by Stone Cold Steve Austin or whoever. The point being here, Rock gets upset at Roman for losing the title, being a huge failure to the family, and essentially beating him down, costing him, the family lineage, blah, blah, blah. You'll never be the tribal chief. Roman goes away for a while. Rock continues to be the final boss, the badass. He's still the heel. And this whole conspiracy theory thing just kind of went by the wayside because it was all actually always Rock and Roman. But now Rock is pissed at Roman. He casts away Roman. Roman has to come back. And then we get to 41 and it's Rock Roman. Roman's the babyface. Rock is the heel. And then by the end of 40, if you want The Rock to be cheered, by the end of 41, they had the war. They hug it out. Next night, Mania 41, the Raw after Mania 41, Rock cuts his promo. Thank you. Good night. Cheer me all you want.
No. Rock, I get where you're going. One, I don't think Rock's showing up enough to do all of this. I don't feel like he's showing up enough to do this. I don't think Roman plays well right now as a babyface on this either. And one, I think Rock wants a longer established babyface run than just, hey, give me my flowers for what I've done the past 2 years. I think Rock wants to show up and be babyface Rock for an actual program.
So then let's say Rock is still the heel after night 2. Roman loses his title. Okay. Roman's pissed off.
Yeah.
And the bloodline beats out The Rock.
Yeah, that's
Rock's what gone. He comes back as the babyface, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I've been pitching, except I don't want Roman to lose the titles. I want Roman to remain the champion because I think it's funny.
Yes, and you and I had also kind of started there as well as the double agent stuff, and we're without the Roman keeps the title, but where do The Rock and Roman get to 41? We were kind of starting with Rock is the babyface, Roman stays the heel. He just doesn't have the title. He's got the tribal chief title. But now we're back on that track again, you and I. But also we have now a possibility of doing the other side. We've opened up the door to potentially have Roman be the babyface and have The Rock be the heel going into a Mania 41 match if they do that. I'm not saying it's happening, but my point is the way The Rock's been presented lately, especially on Monday, you've opened the door to make it believable that The Rock could put on that role for a WrestleMania match against Roman.
Yeah, it's possible, but I don't feel like he's going to be heel. I think he's going to have this extended heel run. Here's what I would do if they can pull this off. Truthfully, not trolling. I'll troll Steven Jensen tomorrow. Not trolling, though.
Thank you for that.
Night 1, Rock pins Cody. Okay? So that way it's bloodline rules, bloodline interference, all that fun stuff. Everyone's made a big deal out of they had the Cena and Steve Austin truck shots in the background. It seems like they might be setting up for this. So you do the big Avengers Assemble night 2, and Cody wins the title night 2. Rock, heel Rock still faces Cody. Heel Rock faces Cody whenever. SummerSlam,
Saudi Arabia, baby.
Whenever you're going to do that match, you do heel Rock against Cody. Cody wins that match. And that's when you start doing the bloodline dissension stuff. And that's when Rock gets kicked out of bloodline to do babyface. Then you're getting extended life out of heel Rock. You're getting it into May when the Saudi show is, maybe even August if you want to try to really extend it. into the SummerSlam stuff, but you're getting more out of heel Rock. Then you can do the babyface Rock. Then you can do Rock and Roman for the lineage of the tribal chief at WrestleMania next year with babyface Rock and heel Roman. That's the true, I guess, booking that I think makes sense and that gets to all points and stories get finished.
No, we're gonna do that. We're finishing stories WrestleMania night too. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah, I said that. I said Cody wins.
Yeah, no. I said you said that's how we finish stories, but we would have already finished the story by the end of night two. But now you just extended the story because in WWE the story never finishes.
Okay.
That's the bumper that you use on the show that you host with Steven Jensen.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. I just wanted to use it because, because Triple H is funny.
Okay.
Tim Winninger Jr. sent us a super chat saying Roman loses to Cody, gets kicked from the bloodline by The Rock. There's an easy babyface turn. Sure, you could do that too.
I don't think Roman is turning babyface. I don't see it. So Paul Heyman talked about what was it? Apocalypse Now. This is how the tribal chief character came to light. Right? Have you seen Apocalypse Now, Joel?
Years ago. And also Roman Reigns watched it twice and probably doesn't remember it either.
Well, all right. So he talks about Apocalypse Now is a big thing. I guess Roman's last, or I guess I haven't seen this movie, so I don't know. I'm probably not the person to really tell the story on this. But based on what Paul Heyman is saying, the main character dies and his last wish is like destroy everything. He is still the heel. Even when in his death, he is the heel in Apocalypse Now. And that is like why I think Roman is just going to stay the heel. I don't think he does this big babyface turn after WrestleMania 40. He's been the heel for so long. He still has a babyface Rock to feud with. Like, you don't need to just, let's turn Roman babyface now. No, Cody is the guy. Cody is that babyface. You don't need Roman to just all of a sudden go babyface, especially if Roman is still going to work a minimal schedule. That's Cody's whole point of being the conquering politician babyface is like, I show up for every show. Now you're going to have another babyface that doesn't show up for every show? Oh.
I mean, I agree with Corey Brennan. We can have both. It's all in presentation. Right now, the way that Roman's being presented is the way that you just explained it, right? He doesn't come to work. He doesn't want to be the guy. Cody wants to be the guy in every way, shape, and form as the white meat babyface. Roman can still be the guy. You can have a cool babyface. There are plenty of those. Randy Orton doesn't come to work every week.
Give me your top heels then. Drew,
absolutely. You could turn Seth again if you really wanted to go that far. But as of right now, it's Drew. You can do AJ Styles.
Gunther
for sure. I got to look at an actual roster list.
Name me a good heel on SmackDown right now.
Oh, no, AJ. I can't do that. It's AJ. Yeah, like that just doesn't exist because they don't.
Logan Paul, another part-time guy.
Yep. Austin Theory, your favorite?
No.
Santos Escobar?
You don't even want him on WrestleMania.
I mean, not anymore. Turn him and find a spot for him. But yeah, but again, that's why turning Roman into a babyface opens up opportunities for other characters to take over as that guy. Not as a part-time, but as a heel that just works and rules over SmackDown as the top heel. Because Roman as top heel right now has gotten to the point where it's completely undermined every other heel on SmackDown. So you turn that on its head and you let other people take over that role. Maybe multiple people.
You could still do that. That's the problem that they haven't done on SmackDown is that when Roman was away, no other heel felt very important. They're not lacking baby faces. This is why I don't feel the need for Roman to be a baby face is because you're making something happen where there's no problem. You need to create top heels. Keeping Roman as a heel at least gives the impression, even though it doesn't show up every week, gives the impression of like, oh, okay, here is somebody who can really be the guy who everyone is going after. And I understand having the title helps all of that. You don't need baby faces.
Okay, but hold on. Let's say we're just booking Mania to Mania. Then you've got The Rock and Roman Reigns are the two part-time guys, and they don't need to show up for every show. They just need to be once in a while, getting you there. So the point here is that you have these other people we're talking about coming up and rising the ranks. The Rock is still the heel. The Roman becomes the babyface over time because of the story being told, where he gets kicked out of his own group, or he has lost the title and The Rock beats him out. Whatever it is, you can have Roman become a babyface over time to get him to this. Because again, he's not going to be a full-time babyface. He's not going to come back and suddenly be this.
No, I get it. I get it. But
so you have to build other people out of that, is my point.
Here is what he is going to do, though. He's going to feud with The Rock. He's going to feud with a heel Rock. People already think that Rock is overshadowing Roman right now. You put babyface Roman Reigns in this, and Rock can do all of his heel material against babyface Roman Reigns. Roman's got to be like The Rock is now in this feud. He's got to beat the shit out of Dwayne for people to take him serious. You can't heel Rock doing what he did to Cody, doing that to babyface Roman trying to fight from underneath after years of just overruling everyone. Acknowledge me, having a stranglehold on all this. Now Roman's fighting from underneath because Rock has shown up. I don't think the dynamic's good.
But if the whole reason of this is to be beating the final boss, quote unquote, and Roman has to overcome who is quote unquote the final boss in not only in WWE, and I use the air quotes, but also in his quote unquote family, there's a compelling story to tell there. Now, I agree with you, by the way, that Roman's presentation would have to be tweaked as a babyface to the point where it's not going to be a beatdown segment like what we saw on Monday with The Rock and Cody, where there's nothing but you got to get to the point where people are still cheering for Roman and not cheering The Rock beating up Roman Reigns. That's a presentation thing. That is a story thing. And that is part of making the turn work and making it not necessarily organic. It does have to be organic, but also believable. And there's got to be a way in the 3 years of what just happened with the bloodline of having Roman Reigns find his I'm sorry moments, his mea culpas. It happened with Jey Uso. What happened with Jey? He was evil. He was a bad dude. He turned away. He got away. And when they moved him away from Bloodline, there were people who didn't believe him. There were people who didn't trust him. There still are those people. But he found a way to earn their trust. That's the Roman Reigns story afterwards. He's got to find a way to earn people's trust by getting over what terrible things he did over the last 3 years. They always wanted him to be that top level babyface. They have Cody doing that in the most white meat of white meat fashions. The cool babyface Roman can exist, but again, it's presentation and believability. And that's what they need to do after Mania.
It can. I don't see it's not necessary. You've already got enough baby faces. I don't need cool babyface Roman Reigns just because The Rock is a heel. Rock wants to be cheered. Rock wants to do babyface stuff. He's having fun with the heel stuff. You can get more months out of that. Rock wants a babyface run. He came back because he thought he was getting a babyface run. He thought he was going to face Roman as the babyface. He thought he was the big conquering hero in all of this. And then the crybabies cried.
Yeah, but heels have more fun. Like, come on.
And Rock's having fun with it. It just feels like turning Roman babyface. Look, it's inevitable. It happens to just about everybody at some point. It's probably going to happen at some point. Doing it after Mania 40, though, after everything Roman has done for the last 4 years, just to do a Rock and Roman program that you can already do. If Rock is a babyface, you don't need to do it. You've got enough good baby faces. You need some good heels.
Which is why I'm saying you move Roman away from the heel depth chart. You let others grow into the position. We were so good. There you go. You're back. Did you hear what I said?
No.
I said that's why you take someone like Roman and you turn him into a babyface to let other heels grow within the brand, because right now there is no space for anybody in that SmackDown roster to grow into the top heel position, because the top heel has been the champion for 3 years, and that's it. No one is stronger than Roman Reigns in presentation on the depth chart other than Rock right now. But we're leaving Rock to the side in the SmackDown depth chart conversation. We're leaving the Rock to the side.
I don't know if anybody's going to be stronger than The Rock as a heel. The Rock's overshadowing friggin' Reigns right now.
Yes, but the idea here is that, once again, Rock is not full-time. Roman's not
full-time.
I know. Neither are full-time. Their story is going to be cast aside for periods of time. We're talking about it now because it's WrestleMania season, so it's in focus. But the moment that Mania season has passed and we're going to other things, they will not be the focus of it. So other characters are going to have to come up and take over those spots we're talking about.
Why doesn't this work if Roman is still the heel and Rock is the babyface? Why is the same lets other people run? They've had 3 years to figure out, get a top heel on SmackDown. This isn't just because Roman is a heel. This is because they can't figure out how to book another heel on SmackDown.
Because your number one heel is your champion for the last 3 years and has that head start on everybody.
Okay, well, now your number one heel is the friggin' Rock.
He is, but only for a very short period of time. I'm talking.
All right, but Roman. Okay, but let's say Roman is the heel. He's still a part-time person. Now he doesn't have the title, so the same issue still arises. Or not even the issue. The same theory, not Austin, still arises in that you got to make a top heel with whether Rock's there part-time as the heel or whether Roman is there part-time as the heel. The same thing is you got to have another heel rise. Seems a little bit easier to do that if non-champion Roman Reigns is that guy than the friggin' final boss Rock, who is currently overshadowing full-time champion Roman Reigns.
Like I said, I cast off both to the side because after Mania season, they won't be around. So you have to find those other people.
I didn't hear what you said. Hold on.
Are you back? Oh, he's got to do the thing where he resets the router. Hang tight. We're gonna get there. We're gonna go back to it. I don't want to have to make my point twice. I'm gonna wait until Jeremy's back. People are agreeing with me. People are agreeing with Jeremy. There's no wrong.
What'd you say?
Okay, my point was, again, as I've said before, we have to build other characters up in the absence of Roman and Rock, because they will both be gone, and this argument will mostly be moot unless it's presenting Rock and Roman in the match that they are going to have inevitably next year. Because Rock and Cena was around for the bulk of it, champion, going after championships and so on and so forth. It was easier for them because they had babyface John Cena already in the can. It was happening, and Rock was just out, not showing up unless it was random. Now you're going to have both men in this story gone. And in the meantime, you're going to have champions on the brands actually actively defending them and not just taking on flavor of the month baby faces and then burying them afterwards, because everyone who would step up to Roman, nothing would really happen afterwards. Nothing major would, like Sami Zayn was the majorest option, got huge, and then they did the tag title thing, which was great. And then it was just kind of like, it was a little bit of a fall. And then we got to WrestleMania and that kind of dropped because they won the tag titles and nothing happened from there. That's a booking issue. My point is, when you turn somebody like Roman Reigns, you have to make this whole thing believable for the story that they'll be telling going into WrestleMania, which would be 2 part-timers anyway. So everyone else on that roster has to get built up somehow to a believable point. There has to be a number one heel, not Rock, not Roman, a believable heel that takes over on SmackDown in this case for conversation.
They've had years to do this,
but they haven't, because they kept with Roman, and Roman was the only guy because he held that title and was stronger and had years on top of them. The problem
you're still delaying it a year if Rock is working Mania 41 though, because nobody's gonna.
But no one, Rock's not gonna be there for most of it.
Roman's not going to be there for most of it.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So we're agreeing that they got to build other heels. It doesn't matter who the top heel is.
Yes, but my point is, in this case, Roman should be the babyface to come back to once that ends.
So then babyface Roman can beat all these other heels that they built up.
Probably, but at least they will have built them up.
Okay.
They would have spent a year building up heels, which is something they haven't been working on in 3 years. So give them a year to actually build up heels again.
They could build up heels at the time now. Let them go against babyface Rock. Rock can run them all down, cut all their legs off before they get started, like he did with Miro and New Day and everybody else when he returned.
And that's why you don't bring back The Rock for long stories.
They had their chances to make guys like Solo, by the way, but they haven't done it. I don't have any faith that they're going to continue to do it. They've done some work on Raw. Gunther feels very important in the same way. And Roman, you just have him be the champion for a long time. Maybe that's all you need. Maybe that's all. You just need long champions.
No, Jesus Christ, no. We just did the era of long champions. We're about to hopefully come out of the era of 3+ year champions. I'm ready to move from there. I'm ready to be done with. I'm not saying hot potato every title, but I'm saying I don't think we need to, quote, reset the record books on everything. Just a couple of things.
I mean, Drew's the top heel. That's the heel that they got. They can build other heels behind Roman. I understand what Joel is saying. I see what I think Drew is arguing you're better than you are. Shout out to Drew.
What are you? Fine, dick. It's gonna go.
I understand. It's tougher to build the heels when Roman's there as the champion, but Roman's not going to be the champion after Mania in this scenario. He's just a heel feuding with The Rock, who is the babyface. I don't think it's any easier to build the top heel if you have part-time heel Rock there, because part-time heel Rock's not letting anybody go over, just like a part-time heel Roman feuding with The Rock, even without the title. The argument is, well, you can't build a top heel off of that. It's all a part-time heel. So it's tough regardless, but had 4 years to do this. They haven't been able to do it on SmackDown. They've been able to do it on Raw. They just haven't been able to do it on SmackDown.
And I hope that they do. Speaking of baby faces and heels that you never want to see again, Fozzie's going off on their 25th anniversary tour. Did you see this?
Nope.
October. Guess how many Wednesdays they're working?
Of them.
None of them. Jericho taking 3 weeks off, and none of them are from his wrestling job. Anyway, Fozzie's going on their tour. Nocturnal Affair and Closure are the openers. They're going to be in Cleveland on the 21st of October. So, you want to go?
No.
Oh, okay. There's nothing really interesting on this tour list. Anyway, I just saw this and immediately went to my calendar and saw these gaps and said, are any of these Wednesdays? They don't work any Wednesdays. Zayn and Gable. I want to touch on that quick before Chris Masters joins us in a few minutes. What are we doing? Why is Gable potentially going to train Sami Zayn in the art of beating Gunther when the only Gunther win the Gable has is a count-out victory?
It's still a win.
It is. Did it win him a championship?
Well,
does he have the Intercontinental Championship?
Moral victory. He could make one, maybe. Everybody's carrying around fake belts nowadays.
That's true. Sami did that once himself with the Intercontinental Championship, carrying around a belt that wasn't his. I don't want this. I don't need this. I need Gable to go away real quick right now.
What about your Gable heel turn? You want to turn Gable heel?
Great, I do, but I want Sami Zayn to win the Intercontinental Championship before we officially have Gable go after Sami Zayn, the new Intercontinental Champion.
I don't know if Sammy's winning this title. Like, I think the story is there, but I just don't know if that's where they're going.
So I'm inclined to agree, but I'm hoping that this isn't a Gable costs Zayn the match at WrestleMania, because if Gable's whole feeling is no one can beat him but me, that's just not good in my opinion. That's just not a worthwhile story, because once again, you kept losing. And there's no reason for you to be this obsessed, because you never came that close except for the time you got a count out.
I mean, he came close. He didn't win, but like he got some near falls.
Yeah, everyone gets near falls. It's wrestling.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I like that Chad Gable is like obsessed with him being the one to beat Gunther. And so that obsession is driving him to make it seem that nobody else can do it but him. I get what they're doing here. Clearly you're not a fan of it. But I do think that Sami, I think my issue with it is that Sami needs to fire back a little bit at Gable and be like, what the King Potato kind of says, like, what the hell have you done, dude? Like, I was in the ring with Roman Reigns. I had Roman Reigns beat until Bloodline got involved. I've headlined WrestleMania. I've won championships in the main event of WrestleMania. You know, I had the best match of the year at WrestleMania 38. What have you done? You failed Maxine. You've failed Otis. You're a giant failure. Step aside. But I like that Gable is the one is obsessed over this and is like, no one can do this but me. Because that probably is going to drive him further into insanity. And it's probably going to cost a lot of people the title. And I don't know if Gable actually wins the championship. It seems like he should, based on all of this, because if he just loses again and just continues to be a giant failure, then okay. But maybe the angle is that Gable is so obsessed and then he's trying to get Sami to believe in himself. Maybe this is how Sami does fire all of this. And then, like, he fires back at Gable. Sami does win the title. And then it's a short reign. And then Gable actually beats him. And the whole play for Gable was, I was trying to get you fired up to show you you can do this. You won. Congratulations. I knew I could beat you. I knew I could end up beating you. You suck.
He kicks him.
I knew I had your number.
Yeah.
And he kicks There's ways to go about this. Like,
yeah. But it always ends with kicking in the dick. Right? It's wrestling.
Sure.
Yeah, you kick him in the dick. It's where, listen, it worked last week when I did it. Yeah, this is, again, if this is Gable coaching Sami to beat Gunther, and then then Gable says, couldn't beat Gunther, but I sure as shit can beat you, and then they start that road, I can go with that. But it's a really strange way for Sami Zayn to take, I guess because Sami is in his own head so much that he's accepting the help because he thinks that this will help him. That I can see. What I really don't want to see at WrestleMania is Gunther retaining because Gable helped Gunther. That to me would just be a waste of storytelling. That'd be a waste of it would be a weird, obsessive type of story that they has no legs, in my opinion. But the one you just laid out, and the idea that that Sami wins the title, Gable says, I can beat your ass, and then they do that, fine by me. Get to that point.
What's going to happen is it's going to be Gable. He's going to be there ringside for Gunther and Sami. Gunther's going to win. Gable's not really going to cost him. He's going to be there. He's going to cheer on Sami. Gunther's going to win. And then in the back, they're going to be like, well, we both just kind of suck. You want to be a tag team? We'll just be this loser tag team. What do you think of that? And that's what they do.
Well, I'll tell you what. Our guest is here, and he's no loser. If he's ready, he can give me a thumbs up. That's always my favorite part, is when we get to tell people that we're ready to bring them on. So if he's ready, we'll bring him on. You see, he's prepping up. He's got his thumbs up. Let's go. Very excited to introduce. He's going to be defending the WWC Universal Championship this Saturday at WWC Camino a la Gloria. Very excited to welcome now the one, the only, Chris Masters. Good morning.
Good morning. What's up, fellas?
How you doing?
How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well. It's a beautiful day here in Southern California, but I'm not bragging or anything. I don't know where you guys at.
Oh, the worst city in the world. Oh, the worst state, Ohio. So any
Oh,
place is bragging over Ohio.
and you, Joe?
I'm in Toronto, Canada, so we're okay.
Oh, double whammy. I lived in Toronto for 2.5 years, so I at least endured it. I know what you're going through. Although it might be a little nicer right now, right? Maybe.
Yeah, the sun's out. We're getting nicer weather. Why were you in Toronto? What did you live here for?
My ex-girlfriend was Canadian. She wasn't ready to come to the US yet. So I went up there and figured I'd try Toronto for 2.5 years. And oh man, and I know through my experience too that you guys aren't even done with snow yet. There's gonna be at least a little more, right?
We already got it, and now it's finally gone.
Oh, and then
And then where I
Ohio.
am,
Ohio, it's allegedly spring break, and it was snowing last week. So yeah, we're still getting snow. It's like 30 degrees out right now.
I'll tell you what though, I wrestled in where was it, Montana this past weekend, and I landed in South Dakota and snowing there. And what an odd place to work too, Montana, right? Like, but there is an indie federation that's actually kind of starting to thrive there. That's new and traveling the state. So that was like my third time there. But yeah, really interesting, man. Really interesting. Wyoming is another interesting place to be in at this time of year.
Chris, you got it pulled back a little bit right now, but the thing I think a lot of people have taken notice is the hair. You've been letting it grow. What was the decision to do that?
First of all, I just hate getting haircuts. Honestly, is what it came down to. And like,
I respect this. Same.
I always have since I was a kid. I mean, I like how you feel after. Obviously, everybody does, but I hated it. So what happened is I got to the point where I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just not going to get it cut, and I'm just going to wait till I need it. Like I have to. You want to wait till like it's just too ridiculous. And what ended up happening is I just ended up trimming the little ends, and then the top kind of caught up. And then I started working NWA with Tom Latimer, and both him and me decided to make a pact to grow our hair long. So it actually turned out nice though, because it's a good way for me to try to a piece for me to try to evolve. And I didn't see that initially, and I didn't really, because I never thought I'd actually like it long. But it's actually worked out pretty well. And just trying to make little tweaks to from who I was to who I am now.
Let's talk about who you are now. You're WWC Universal Champion. You won it back in January at Euphoria, and you got a buddy, Eddie Colon. He's someone you're very familiar with. He's been your special referee lately, including at the match this Saturday against Mr. Rating Ring Gonzalez. Talk to me about not only your experience in WWC, because I know that's long-standing, but also facing someone like Mr. Rating. What can we expect, and your relationship with Eddie?
Well, I mean, everybody knows that, I'm good friends with the Colon family, obviously with Carlito maybe being my bestie. And then Eddie, and I worked for Carlos Colon, the legendary Carlos Colon, down years back. So I have a long relationship with the Colones. But that's not to say that Eddie Colon is not. He is a responsible guy, and he will call things down the middle. He is unbiased. I mean, nobody should think that he's going to be just automatically leaning towards me. I mean, he's a guy of the utmost, trust, faith. Right? You don't think? You guys look skeptical.
I mean, listen.
It's wrestling, It's wrestling.
Well, think about how many times Carlito backstabbed me in our career. So you guys are right to be skeptical. Yeah, I'll tell you that much right now. Like, you are right. But I mean, this match with Ray, I feel like has been building for the last couple of months. I think what I've had with Intellecto has been kind of intersecting with Eddie and Ray, and now it's finally going to be me and Ray going one-on-one. Intellecto and Eddie are going to be the enforcers. So I don't know what's going to happen, honestly. I just know that Intellecto's obviously bitter because I have now defeated him twice. And, I'm having a very successful reign thus far as the WWC champion, not to mention also the Stu Hart Heritage champion. It is professional wrestling, guys.
We haven't seen you on NWA in a while. Are you still with them?
Not really. It doesn't mean that I couldn't potentially be back there at some point, but it just really got to the point where I wasn't, I felt like NWA was a great platform, and I'm very appreciative to them for giving me a place where I could kind of work on all the intangibles and work on character stuff and evolve and everything. But then it just got to the point where I don't know, I just felt like Billy kind of took me for granted, to be honest. And I felt like, I saw other people getting opportunities that weren't working up to my level at all. And it just felt like it was, for me, I just needed to probably separate myself from there and see what else is out there for me. And, hopefully create some new opportunities for myself. I think one thing I proved in my NWA run is I can have a good match with anybody. And I don't know. I guess Billy, in my eyes, didn't see the value in that.
Well, you made some headlines with a comments you made about the former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Tyrus, and said the fans did not reject him due to politics or Fox News. It's because he can't move. Did you get any heat from that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was a big riff with Billy and myself right there already. But if you can tell, you can probably tell by the way I worded that tweet that I was so just kind of fed up anyway, that, you know what I mean? It was like, it's not like I didn't expect some blowback if I was going to say that. But I will say this, though. I do feel bad, like, when I hear it back and I think back to it, because they feel like Tyrus just ended up being cannon fodder for what was the real situation, which was my frustration with Billy. But at the same time, you know what I mean? I mean, he's got a lot of great things going for him. And I just feel like, I was in NWA so long, and I just felt like, at some point, like, up is up, down is down, and good is good, and shit is shit, if you know what I'm saying. And like, I'm not going to, live this lie, or it just got to the point where I was like, okay, this is the way it is, and whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just being honest. So, but I do look at, I just, Tyrus didn't necessarily deserve that, but he's got a big ego. He'll be okay.
I want to talk about WrestleMania because it's WrestleMania season. You've been a part of 4 of them in some way, shape, or form. You have any fun WrestleMania stories? Because it's definitely grown over the years.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's so like tuned in. First it started all the other, it's become just a whole weekly thing now, right? Like, and yeah, it used to just be one night WrestleMania, and then maybe there was an access event or something. But I know my first really cool WrestleMania. Are we talking about as a fan or as in the business, I guess, right?
I mean, you can do both, quite honestly.
Well, I mean, WrestleMania 12 is a huge thing for me. Seeing Shawn and Brett do the Iron Man match, that was probably the match that made me a pro wrestling lifer, because I watched it all throughout my childhood, but I went through, 2 years of lapse fandom, and then picked it up right around that time frame and saw those two work that match. So that was like, a huge thing for me. But then, fast forward to in the business, I remember it was my first WrestleMania, and it was here in Los Angeles. And it was the Battle Royal before WrestleMania. Now, remember, everything's so new to me still. So, like, everything is exciting to me. And I'm only like, I've been on the road for maybe 4 months going into this. And now we're here in my hometown, LA, and I'm in the Battle Royal. And it comes down into the Battle Royal. And, obviously that's not even really on the Mania card, but it's, it's on the DVD if you watch it now. If people watch DVDs, it comes down to Booker T and me. And, everything went real smooth. Booker T won, but that didn't matter to me. Like, I had a cool little moment in there where I ripped my shirt off too, my Raw shirt. And so, like, for me, man, that was that was just freaking awesome. And then, my first actual, I always thought that, it was the next year that Carlito and me wrestled Big Show and Kane, and we were supposed to win the tag titles. That was kind of my first lesson in professional wrestling, and you don't count your chickens before they hatch ever, is that WrestleMania, because we said we were going to win the tag belts, which was kind of cool, and then it changed last minute. But like, the reason I even bring it up is, looking back, is being the opening match on a WrestleMania is really freaking cool. You know what I mean? And like, even when I watch that back now, I can see how fired up I am. Like I can see it. You know what I mean? I'm like through the roof, you know? And so yeah, man, like, just being able to open a WrestleMania. Obviously closing a WrestleMania would be awesome, but I mean, I think most guys would tell you, you know what I mean? You would want that main event, co-main event, or opening match, get the people when they're fresh and they're ready and they haven't seen nothing.
Were you given a reason why you didn't win the tag titles, or just one of those plans
I
change,
think,
pal?
yeah, just lots of moving pieces. The Spirit Squad became a thing. And also, I think they started thinking they wanted to turn Carlito, which we inevitably did. And but looking back, hindsight 2020, Carlito was 100% right too. That babyface turn was way too early. Like, yeah, sure you could do it because the people were cheering for him there, but like it would have been much better for him if he would have not just I'm saying to stay with me, but just we would have ran longer and then he would have been off on his own for a heel longer or whatever the hell. Either way, just having him heel longer would have been, I think, better for him just because the baby face thing, he wasn't ready to be that type of baby face. You know what I mean? And they wanted him to be the type of baby face he wasn't, you know what I mean? Which was very, fiery baby face, but that's not Carly. Like Carly's got to find out how Caribbean Cool does it, which isn't going to be that kind of overly pandering stuff. So, anyways, that was going off on a sidebar, but
one of the big questions we got asked for when we announced you're coming on the show, the peck dance. Who came up with the
God.
peck dance?
Oh my God. It might have been Brian Gerwitz, but it was funny. I mean, and the first one with the Osbournes and then the one with the Black Eyed Peas was good, but like, oh my God, man, once they started, they just overbooked the hell out of that. And like, it's just not, I knew as a fan, like, that's not something you're going to want to see every week. Like, yeah, it's funny a couple times, but like, move on, and I just felt like, honestly, I felt like I just did it too well the first time and it got the big pop. And then all of a sudden, that's what they were putting me in situations to do that, which, again, I just thought was dumb. Maybe I did it too well, or also was like maybe just punishment or something, you know what I mean? A way to bury me because I just didn't feel like it was doing anything for me, you know what I mean? But like at that point, I mean, it just got to the point where I was booked doing that. Then I was only booked on Superstars. And then I kind of went away from that and just focused on my in-ring. And I really actually developed. And, that's why CM Punk had referenced it, after the release about how I had really improved in the ring because I just applied everything there. And so it was productive in that sense.
Got to ask about Rinka King, wrestling in India, being American Adonis, working with Jeff Jarrett. What was that experience like?
Oh, fun. But, we had to work with a lot of guys from India that were super green and lead them. And luckily, though, we had a good crew of guys, like including myself, of course, and Chavo and Davari, many others that were able to kind of dance with these guys, even though they were so inexperienced. But, it was a lot of fun, man. We had a really good crew there. And it was kind of my first time working with Jeff, I think, which I ended up doing kind of a lot more throughout the next few years. And, it was kind of, I think that might have been my first time to India. So in terms of like India itself, it was just a little bit of culture shock in terms of like first of all, the guys are very affectionate with each other in a way in which in this country would be looked at as very weird. So that was, because you'd see the guys backstage, not us, but the Indian crew, and they'd be like massaging each other and all kinds of stuff. And so, we would be looking around like, it's a little different. And then, we just realized really quickly, it's like, oh, it's just, that's the culture. And then, I also, in terms of just India itself, once you get out of the big cities, I mean, it can be no man's land, it can be third world in some parts there. So, yeah, it was cool. It was fun. And I think, I just remember it being a good time, enjoying it.
I want to ask about Impact Slammiversary 15. You and Eli Drake, now LA Knight, against D'Angelo Williams and Moose. This is one of my favorite celebrity matches. Big Carolina Panthers fan. D'Angelo Williams, running back for the Panthers. I was like working with D'Angelo and Moose and Eli Drake in this match.
Well, I mean, I've said this on many interviews. I mean, I was working with Eli Drake, LA Knight for basically whole time there, kind of like as a sidekick, so to speak, or whatever. But he's just an awesome dude, and I just loved, everything we got to do together, and just getting to know him and developing a friendship with him that's lasted till to this day. You know, I went to like his New Year's party out here a couple months back, or a few months back now, actually. But I just remember D'Angelo Williams just doing awesome. But like for me, like it wasn't a high point for me because I just remember I was very there wasn't a lot I could do. Like I had a few different injuries going on, so I was really unfortunately putting like all the workload on LA Knight and not really as much a part of the match as I would have liked to be, or contributing as much as I want to be. So, I mean, that's what I remember. But I also remember D'Angelo Williams doing very well, and he also didn't rub anybody the wrong way like some people tend to do or anything like that. You know, an outsider coming in, he was just, kind of vibed with everybody, didn't have any kind of heat or anything like that. And Moose, man, I mean, Moose is just, Moose is Moose, man. I think everybody loves Moose. He's a student of the game, man. He's just been, constantly evolving and, and, just updating himself and, getting better and better to where he's at now. So yeah, just fun time. I just wish I would have been able to do more, man. I just had too much going on with myself at that point, physically.
I recently became aware of your Jewish ancestry.
Really?
And I'm a Jew myself, and I very publicly put it out there. And the reason I actually found out that you're Jewish is because you worked Second Wrestling's Mitzvah Mania. Yep. Can you talk to me about working a card like that, and also like your own, like being out there as a Jewish wrestler? Is that something that's important to you? Is it something that you want to play up more? I'm curious because, again, representation for me growing up, there weren't a lot of Jewish wrestlers, right? It was like Barry Horowitz and Bill Goldberg. And now to find out more wrestlers are kind of coming out there, is that something that you find of interest to yourself and your character?
Well, not necessarily my character, because I don't know how it ties in when I'm selling well, then again, my nickname has been Sexy Jesus as of late. So
see, we're already on the way.
So I'm just trying to feel, how would the Jewish community feel about Sexy Jesus? They wouldn't look down upon it as much as the Christians, I imagine. So I don't know yet, but honestly, I don't know how it ties into the character. I do have some passion towards it, and a lot of it is just because I've grown up with it. And but also within the last couple of years, I went to Auschwitz in Poland because I went there to wrestle and saw that. So yeah, like it cuts deep with me, but it's also, it's an odd world where, where it's a very polarizing time for that. So it's like, yeah, I'd like to talk about it and be open about it. But then like when you look at obviously the conflict, and not to get into the world politics and all that, it's just, it sucks on both sides. So like, you don't, neither side should be holding up their flag and, shouting really, ideally in this situation. So, but it doesn't seem like there's many of us represented in wrestling, and I don't know why Goldberg gets all the praise. I mean, hey, you also got Chris Adonis here, or actually MJF though is kind of, he's really kind of holding that mantle. You know what I mean? He's doing a good job, and he's actually kind of worked it into his character. So like, he's got that mastered. But just to answer your question though, like, yeah, it is passionate thing to me and stuff like that. But like, I wouldn't go as far as to put the Jewish star on my trunks or anything like that. I mean, not to say I wouldn't either.
We actually had someone just say the matzah lock would hit.
Oh, the matzah lock. God, we got to think of a way to use that, man. Maybe it is a hold or a skid or something. I don't know. That's good.
We got some work to do.
Yeah.
Chris, we've mentioned a lot of places that you've wrestled. You've wrestled all around the world. Is there a strangest place that you have wrestled?
Well, man, I've been at a lot of strange places, honestly. It's crazy. Like, even my coworkers in the business will tell you that, because, like, if you ever talk to Nick Aldis and you ask him about it, he'll tell you that I've been to some of the oddest countries. But I mean, also, that is the benefit of having some WWE television, especially in that era. Not to say like this era right now is starting to really become a big thing, you know what I mean? But like, Ruthless Aggression era was an era that was looked at fondly now, you know what I mean? So especially because of some of the stuff I think you saw in the mid 2000s, or you know what I mean, like the PG era and stuff. But what was your question? I'm sorry.
Oh, just the strangest place that you've wrestled.
Oh, yeah. So the first place I thought of, and I'm going to be going back there soon for Starcast down under in Australia, is I went out there for a 4-show tour and was out, and like we did an indie show that was basically, we ended up driving through 2 hours of outback to get to this town. It was like the most isolated place I've ever seen. And you'll even in America, you'll get to some shows that are, isolated in the South and stuff like that. But when you're talking about the Australian outback, I mean, I'll tell you this much. Okay, so I was in a car with a guy who was driving me. Shoot, what's his name? He was a good brother. But anyways, and then everybody else was in the ring van and with the ring. And, and so we're driving on this road in the outback, and we make this turn, and now we're turning onto this road that isn't even a road. It's just dirt. And like, I'm looking down at my phone and I see I have 0 phone reception, and I see no one around, no one. And like, he starts going down and it's like all bumpy and stuff. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. What happens if we get a flat tire or something? And we're in the middle of the freaking outback, no phone reception, nobody around. And so like, I literally made the guy stop. And so we could think about this situation. And I even told him, like, well, maybe we could contact the ring truck and ride with them at least. Because I'm also thinking at this point, if we get stuck out here, I have like 2 protein bars. I didn't plan for this. Like, what if we're out here without food and water? And I'm like, I'm just thinking it could be honestly a disaster. And so, anyways, long story short, unless that's already too late, somebody ended up driving down that road about 10 minutes later, and we talked to them, and then inevitably I ended up feeling more comfortable because I saw another car, and I just realized, like, okay, so it's not just us, there's other people going, because I mean, that's how scary it looked. I mean, honestly, if you think about that, you're in the outback of Australia, nothing's wrong, and you turn onto a road that has nothing on it, and it's bumpy as hell. No phone. Anybody's gonna be like, what? Like, WTF, But I mean, I've also been to like Northern Africa and gone to like some of those healing things, and so I mean, I don't know, man. There's a book I'm sure that could be written. I really wish I would have wrote like something, jotted down the most memorable stuff every day. That would have been good.
We'll come back. That'll be the whole point of when you finally decide that's it. You're gonna write that book, and all.
Gosh, but so much will be forgotten is the unfortunate part. You know what I mean? Like honestly, just because. A big part of my early run there too, I was cloudy because, I had issues then and stuff like that. And so I remember stuff. It's not like I don't have a memory, but a lot of it was a little hazy, if you know what I'm saying. So
I get it. All right. Before we let you go, we play a little game on the program. It's called Partner, Promo, or Punch in the Face. I'm going to give you 3 wrestlers that you're very used to, you're very connected to, and you're going to pick which one you would partner with in a tag team match, which one you would cut a promo with in the ring, and which one you would punch in the face, have a singles match with. Are you ready?
Oh boy.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Carlito, Eddie Colon, Orlando Colon, Chris Masters, partner, promo, punch in the face.
Oh my gosh. I would punch Eddie in the face.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd punch Eddie in the face for sure. And he knows why. And if he asks me why, I'll explain it to him, but he shouldn't. And I'm not gonna. And then I wouldn't partner with Carlito because you just never, like, it would go well until it didn't, as we know. So I'd have to team up. I'd have to team with Orlando, I think. Right. And then cut a promo with Carlito.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Right. That covers everybody, right? I mean, it's just that, yeah, that's the way it has to. Although I could punch Carly in the face.
Listen,
You know, I think Eddie and Carly could honestly switch places at various points. You know, I mean, there were times I wanted to punch Colin face, but then obviously I couldn't harm him. You know what I mean? Like, look at him. You know, you can't harm him. He's a lover, not a fighter.
and I think
I would feel so terrible about myself after if I would have struck Carlito. So yeah, it's got to be Eddie.
But the problem is Eddie's going to be the special referee in your match coming up on Saturday, so you got to be cognizant of that.
Oh yeah, and I am, but I have some information that you guys don't have, and it definitely makes Eddie punchable in the face. So
all right,
we're just I mean I love him. Don't get me wrong. I mean that's why you didn't say kill him. You didn't say F Mary kill. Thank goodness.
No.
You know, man, I'm not looking to murder the man, but you know, he could take a punch in the face. But then again, I love Carlito, and that could have been him again at various points in storyline and for shoot. You know what I mean? Like, so
I get it. Well, instead, this Saturday, you're going to be putting up your Universal Championship against Mr. Rating, Ray Gonzalez. It's going to be WC Camino a la Gloria. That is Saturday, March 30th in Puerto Rico. Chris, thank you for joining us. Before we let you go, please plug your socials, plug anything you need to do.
Instagram, Chris Masters 310, and Twitter or X is at Chris Adonis. And yeah, that is it.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us.
Look at Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
We appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Thanks, man.
The one and only Chris Masters.
A lot of fun.
Yeah. I love how everyone loves Moose except for the people we talk to about Moose. One day I'm going to let that go. Today ain't today.
No, he was in California. That's early for him. It's like 8:30 over there.
Good for him, man. Getting his pump in. Looked like he was either doing the pre-workout or he was just finishing and having, having his post-workout energy drink.
Energy drink, yeah.
Yeah, I want to make an allusion to him drinking something,
Well, it looked like it was an energy drink, so that's
I
assume it was.
Listen, nowadays all the cans look like something they don't end up being. So I don't know, but it looked like an energy drink.
Yeah. That was good. Shout out to WWC for helping us get that set up. Sean actually just messaged me earlier this week. He's like, "You guys want to talk to Chris Masters?" I was like, "Yeah, that sounds awesome." It's like, "Is he free? We're doing the show?" And they're like, "Yep." Lucha Libre Online also helped set that up. So shout out to them as well. But yeah, I was like, yeah, if he's free to record while we're live, we obviously like doing the live interviews, then let's do it. Sean was like, all right, 11 o'clock Wednesday. Chris Mash was like, all right, cool. Let's do this. I felt bad asking the peck dance question. It was like PTSD on him for that.
Listen, man, he could have said, I don't want to talk about it, but he gave a very nuanced answer. And I think maybe what happened, and I didn't want to go too far into it because, like you said, it didn't seem like you wanted to talk about it too much. But to me, it kind of felt like he was told it's happening one week, and he went out and did it to the best of his ability because he wanted to be a good performer, good soldier, whatever. And then it was so good that the powers
got over, and then you pigeonhole yourself into that. Yeah, that's what. That's definitely what it seemed like. And yeah, I was gonna ask, like, do you feel like you pigeonholed yourself into it? There's so much ground to cover with him. You talk about the weirdest play. I wanted to ask the weirdest play. He's in like everywhere. He mentioned, Auschwitz and you mentioned India, Australia. He's been to Netherlands, obviously Puerto Rico, Mexico. Like he's wrestled everywhere you can think of. So like there's a lot of ground to cover with Chris Masters. We only have limited time to do that, but it was really fun. It was really fun.
Weirdest place he's ever wrestled, GFW.
Wow, everywhere's the weirdest place.
What? At the Orleans Arena for those TV tapings in Vegas. The stories no one will ever tell. Throwback sent us a super chat during the interview. I'm sorry I didn't get to the answer to the question, but let's go. What's good, guys? This is awesome. Thank you guys for keeping me entertained while hanging in the hospital. Hope you're doing okay, Throwback, first and foremost. It sucks to hear that you're in the hospital. Hopefully that whatever it is gets sorted out real quick and that you're not there too long. And then he asked the question, who came up with the master lock? He actually answered this question before, did Chris Masters. He said it may have been either Arn Anderson or Triple H while they were trying to figure out what type of finishers he should do. They had like torture rack ideas and power bombs, and then they were like, full Nelson, Let's do a full Nelson, and that's what stuck.
Nobody uses a good torture rack nowadays.
You can't improve on perfection.
True. I mean, Lex Luger is like one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. Very underrated. Throwback, hope everything's well with you and your family. Best wishes, buddy.
Absolutely. Hoping everything's good. Where were we before Chris Masters so rudely injured? No, I'm just kidding. Came and joined us. We were talking about Zayn and Gable. I think we kind of got through that conversation. We're going to do Dynamite preview later, and I guess we should talk about Punk, Rollins, and McIntyre now. Considering that
this is the thumbnail, so
that's the thumbnail. And you know what? I thought about it. Is it going to be Rock and Cody, or is it going to be this one? I actually preferred the Punk, Rollins, and McIntyre promo segments over the story of Rock and Cody from Monday night.
Look at you. Look at you.
Look at me. Look at you now. Look at me. Anyway, look at us. Huh? Who would have thought? Busted open. Taking over Busted Open. One day. First of all, Punk trolling afterwards. Just fantastic. The social media posts.
He's not online.
Not.
Sam Punk trolling? He's not online at all.
Never online. Very famously offline, CM Punk.
He doesn't tweet anymore, that's for sure.
Only when he's asked or tagged and then retweets.
I don't think he did. When was the last time? Shit. He Instagrams. The man's not on Twitter.
Guy.
Yeah, the man doesn't go on Twitter. His last tweet was June 2020. Yeah, his last tweet is promoting Rampage. So he doesn't tweet. He's very much on Instagram, though.
I'll be on AEW Rampage live tonight with an important announcement in regards to the AEW World Championship and my career. Please tune in at 9 p.m. CST, 10 p.m. Eastern.
That was the first injury. That was the foot injury.
Yes, it was.
This was pre-Brawl Out. Was the last time he was tweeting.
Wow. Famously
Instagram he loves.
Famously offline. Drew McIntyre posts everything on Twitter, and CM Punk does not use Twitter.
But Drew going to Mindy's on a Monday, he was told it's closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. Did no one listen to the gripe bomb? I think that's what the kids are calling it. Did no one listen to it?
Weren't
closed Mondays and Tuesdays. Everyone knows this. Here's Drew, though, trying to act like I'm going to Mindy's, a historical Chicago landmark. It's Monday, Drew. You got to go on a Wednesday.
Oh, by the way, the actual last time the Punk was on Twitter, June 15th, 2022. He liked to tweet by Mark Lazarus. And it was 7 years ago when the Hawks won the cup. Sure. Anyway, yeah. But we also found out that Mindy's Bakery is actually open during those times that he said they were closed. There was a whole misinformation going on there.
Were they? It's Mondays and Tuesdays. They're closed.
That's what Punk said. And I think some people were like, no, that's not actually right. Turns out they're open during those times.
Well, they weren't open for Drew on Monday. We also got an official email from Mindy's Bakery that says closed on Monday and Tuesdays.
Wow, look at us doing the work.
So I don't think it is open on Mondays and Tuesdays. I think people are lying. I think people are speaking ill of Mindy's Bakery.
Leave Mindy's name at your damn mouths. So anyway, the promo itself, it's got a lot of people talking. Got a lot of people thinking that this is taking some shots and some Attitude Era stuff came around.
Yeah, rolled.
PG, brother. There was some really good stuff in this promo, and I like that it's so frustrating because Punk's not going to be physically able to get involved. Rollins and McIntyre is the match, but Punk's going to be there. He said he's going to.
Punk's going to come out. He's going to be on commentary. He's going to do push-ups before the match. Yeah. Remember when Shawn did the backflip, even though his knee was broken? He did the backflip before Brett's match at Mania. Before Undertaker Sid, whatever match he did the backflip before. I think it was Undertaker and Sid. That's what Punk's gonna do before Drew and Seth. He's gonna do a bunch of push-ups and jumping jacks and show that his arm is good and everything.
That would be fantastic. I would actually love for him to do that. Chat's talking about what's CM Punk's burner as if it's a serious conversation. Thank you, chat. He has a burner. The whole point of a burner is that you don't know who he is. The idea of Punk coming out, first of all, do the in the promo when they're all chanting referee, referee, and then he gets down and Rollins is like, oh, that's a counting hand, and he does the other hand. Just great stuff. And he gets up, he's like, I can't be unbiased for you two dipshits. They were clearly having fun. They clearly had talking points, but they weren't afraid to go and test those points a little bit. I'm wondering if Punk was annoyed by some of the stuff Drew said that got him to the point where he said the Vince McMahon line without saying his name. And it did rule. But and I'm not saying like, oh, Punk got angry and he's gonna start a fight, because I know like Ibu, who's great, by the way. Like, this is me burying Ibu from Wrestle Purist, saying like there might be a brawl going on backstage right now and we don't know about it. And people were like, you being serious? And he's like, I don't know, maybe. There was no brawl going on, but I think the point that Ibu was trying to make was that maybe some liberties were taken, and now you find out whether or not Punk is okay with that kind of liberty being taken regarding his career or regarding other stuff that they talk about. I like that they were not afraid to go there, and it sounds like all three men, while they do not like each other necessarily personally, or maybe it's just two men don't like Punk, they have the wherewithal to work together and be respectful of that. And I appreciate that.
I don't think Drew said anything that was like, oh, that's a shot. I mean, there were shots, but there was nothing of like that. The best line to me from Drew was you're straight edge, you don't do drugs, you don't do alcohol, you spend all your time in rehab. Make it make sense. That line ruled. Like, that's not anything that's like a shot. It's a shot, obviously, but it's not like some inside shot or whatever. It's a nice, like, reference to things of like, it's a good line. It's a good line. Punk with who gave you that nickname? That's the one that crossed some things. If anything was crossed, I like that Punk did it. Hopefully, I don't think Punk wants to start anything with Drew McIntyre. No. Like, I think that's one.
You ever notice the fights he started were with people that were physically smaller than him?
I mean, Hangman and him roughly same-ish size. Like, I don't think you don't want to really go after Drew in that way, because that's a fight that you probably ain't finishing too well. So yeah, that was the biggest shot to me. Everything else felt like it was pretty like fair game in the scheme of everything. That one was the one. I liked it. I thought it was hilarious. I was like, ooh, that's good. That's good. That's quick. But that was the one that's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't go there with these things.
The Vince line, of course, was not planned. But it sounds like there's no heat on Punk for doing it, because he took it to the line, but he didn't invoke the name. It was an if you know, you know. It was a historical point, because again, this is a conversation that you and I have had in the real world situation of Vince McMahon and allegations and lawsuits. How can you erase the guy who effectively has been front row center of so many stories in WWE? You can ignore or at least downplay a lot of them, but it's hard to flat out erase and ignore it. And this isn't me saying, oh, they have to do it. No, this is just, if you're going to do it and the way that they did it, this is the best way that you can do it, because you did it, but you didn't say it. And that's kind of my take on that. He walked up.
Like, Drew was in, it's okay that Drew's a heel, because, heels can afford to look a little foolish. When Punk was doing this call out stuff against Hangman, you made your babyface champion, former champion, I guess. But one of your top babyfaces looks stupid for not coming out here. Drew with this, okay, like, he's not put in a great position, but it's all right at the end of the day that he just didn't say this name. So it was all right. Now, if it was a babyface and trying to do this, and then maybe it's a different story. Or if Drew isn't as good as Drew is, then maybe it's a different story. I do wonder apparently there is no heat on Punk. I do wonder if there was a talking, apologies, anything like that. We don't know. And Drew has said, if somebody thinks I said something wrong, I'll have a conversation with them. And if I think they're right, okay, I'll apologize. If I think they're wrong, well, unless they're Bobby Lashley, then too bad. Punk ain't Bobby Lashley.
Once again, I am openly inviting Drew McIntyre to come on the show and publicly air his grievances. Because we are the place
to
do
Drew on this show.
Of course. But talk to him about the Nashville Predators. He'd be a huge NHL fan conversation. Can air his grievances with Pecorine.
I'm with Ryan of Drew and Punk. Like, I'm excited for that match more than Seth. Yeah. Seth is there. Out. He got some lines in, but it is like the shots people take at Seth are very played out and boring and easy and cliche. You got to come up with some better material out of this. The problem is Seth doesn't fire back the way you would hope he would fire back. Like, Drew is spitting fire towards Punk. Seth is just kind of, he's there. He's saying stuff, but
he's obnoxious as hell.
He doesn't come off like Drew comes off a lot more biting than Seth does. So Seth, much like the Cody stuff, Rock ain't worried at all about Seth. He's all his attention's on Cody. Drew doesn't seem like he's worried at all about Seth. He's more worried about Punk. Seth just kind of comes as the afterthought to these.
However, I will say that in this particular segment, Rollins did a good job of reestablishing that he is right smack dab in the middle, that it was supposed to be him and Punk, and now it's McIntyre, and he's still putting the emphasis on McIntyre at WrestleMania. I agree. I want to see Punk and McIntyre more now because Punk, he had his promo about being injured, and then McIntyre came out, and that was really what cemented not just the heel turn, but also this re-energized Drew McIntyre character. You want to see that come up, and especially because McIntyre keeps doing Punk stuff. It's inevitable. And the Rollins McIntyre match is like, it feels thrown together because it kind of is, but they've got the best of the situation intact because, again, Drew McIntyre's presentation has changed to the point where people are really into it and really understanding it. And I love, by the way, that at the end of this entire segment, Drew McIntyre shows ass, literally and figuratively, when Punk's walking away and he's like, no, you're my stan. You're obsessed with me. When
that ruled.
It's the other way around, and it's really good because McIntyre is not afraid to look like a complete dickhead instead of trying to save a character where like trying to be cool. He's actually trying to actively keep the heat on himself and be that dickhead character that is just delusional, because that's been McIntyre the whole time. He's right, but he has delusions of grandeur to go with it. So I like that they actually continued that. Punk McIntyre looks good. Punk Rollins looks good. Rollins McIntyre looks good. Rollins Punk looks good. Like, all three men can interact in some sort of way that makes me still invested in whatever matchup they put him in. And I like that. I'm a big fan of that.
Michael Cole made the mention after the segment of like, oh, Drew's focus now seems to be a bit off. Because has been Seth's focus is off. He's more worried about Bloodline and everything. But now Punk arrives. Now Drew's focus is more on Punk. And Punk's going to be ringside. He's going to be on commentary for this. Does that mean Drew loses? I hope not. I hope he kicks Punk and then kicks Seth and just he wins. Because I think Drew and Punk, the money's right there for them right now. I don't like the money. There's still money in Seth and Punk. I go back to that first promo they had. I was there for that. That was really good stuff. I thought Seth came across much better in that he's come across in basically anything he's done since then. But now Drew's kind of supplanted him as like the number one Punk enemy. And it's a different story. Drew's able to get online and really troll and really do these things. Seth is supposed to be a babyface, so him doing this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially when he's working bloodline stuff as well. So I get that. But because of that, Drew is made himself the bigger money player when it comes to facing CM Punk. But now with Punk being on commentary, does Drew lose focus? Does Seth retain the championship? Does Damian Priest cash in?
Damian Priest cashes in. CM Punk and Damian Priest. Let's go.
No, absolutely not.
No. Well, I tried. But again, that is part of the long-term conversation is the Money in the Bank briefcase. You and I have talked about it do we do a cash in? Do we not do it at WrestleMania? Does it have to be WrestleMania? I don't think it does. We've done a WrestleMania cash in. We do not necessarily need to do it again. However, the only reason to do it again is because it's 40, it's Seth Rollins, and it becomes a triple threat, and Seth Rollins gets a taste of his own medicine. I don't think that's good enough of a reason, but that's the only connective tissue you can use to want to do it like that.
Drew should win. Drew should kick Rollins. He should kick Punk, and he should hold all the titles.
I agree. And by the way, like chat's saying, Drew making reason, giving claim as to why he deserves big money in this re-signing gear. He absolutely has proven that if he hasn't already signed a new contract, he is very well deserving of the big money he can get from this character alone and the way he's been presented.
I think, Becky was asked about her contract, and she said, still everything's up for conversation. We'll see. Seth's contract is also a thing. They got to spend some money on these people right now. They've in the free agency war, people are like, oh, AEW got Ospreay, Okada, and Mercedes. So that people are looking at WWE sideways because of this. Look, if they resign, it's essentially a big three with motherfucking three. It's just big me, Kendrick, shout out. But we'll see if they can resign Drew and Seth and Becky.
Yeah. I hope they do. I know that there's arguments to be made, and you and I talk about what would it be like if so-and-so goes to another place and has different matches and so on. I like Drew in this presentation right now. I think it's fresh, and I think there's a lot of room for him. Seth Rollins is one of those where it's like, I could take it or leave it. I think he's so over the top and good in the quote WWE presentation that I don't know how it carries over to another place. In this case, it would most likely be AEW, because I don't think New Japan, TNA, MLW. I don't think
nobody's going.
MLW does have $20 million to spend.
Wow, they've already spent it all up.
You're right, Morrow. Anyway, and with Becky, it's the same conversation. I don't really know if there's an interest in sending them or them going to those other companies, but entirely up to them and up to their pockets.
I don't think there's any interest in them going to anywhere but AEW. No offense to. Look, I'm for that. House Torture, the greatest stable of all time. I don't feel like there's any interest in going to any company AEW. I don't think right now, because the selling point to AEW was always the creative freedom, right? That was always the biggest selling point to AEW. That selling point ain't really there anymore. Now, it's still obviously people still want to go there. That's why they got Okada, Ospreay, Mercedes. There are still other selling points, but from a WWE, why would you leave WWE? The selling point was always, you get to do really cool wrestling things that WWE, you're following the whims and the script of one person. And now that selling point isn't really there. Everybody's talked about how great things are with Triple H and how much more freedom they have. We see how much more freedom a lot of these performers have. And certainly when you're at the top of the card, like those three are. So the selling point becomes maybe they offer more money, but maybe they don't. If the money's equal, and maybe you get a better schedule because there's no live events that you got to work. You're only working once, maybe 2 days a week if you're on both shows. But the big selling point of the creative freedom isn't there anymore.
Yeah. I was just thinking, what are the new selling points if you're an established star wrestler going to AEW? And if you think about it, someone like Mercedes going to AEW, her modus operandi, as she's called, as she's called out in promos, is the global women's revolution. And that is something that AEW has not made a main focus on their television show. So for her, it makes sense. She wants to be a leader. She wants to be, pardon the pun, the boss. She wants to be the person that drives that next women's revolution. I'm just going to use the word again. When it comes to AEW's focus on women's wrestling. For that, I understand someone moving over to a place like AEW is because you think that your value is bringing change to a product that needs or is in development, because 5 years versus 60, 70 years is much different. And again, you and I've sat here so many times and talked about just the differences in presentation for AEW, but also the differences in theories, in procedure. And they just hired a COO who is from WWE, also from other places as well, but is known for working with WWE, where the conversation turned to streamlining different procedures and starting to work on making a more cohesive, not only presentation on, but also off screen for AEW. Those are the changes that are going to be necessary moving forward for AEW as well. But now with talent, someone who comes in is more likely to want to be a part of a growth spurt, not expecting some big money contract and just coasting. It feels like those who are coming to AEW are coming because they are hungry for a creative vision that they have not satisfied elsewhere. Does that make sense?
I do think, a selling point, and this is why I think Mercedes are on top of money, but one selling point, there is the freedom to work elsewhere. That is a selling point. You're not just, okay, only WWE. You can go to New Japan and wrestle. You can go, if you're a female, to Stardom and wrestle. Is that a selling point for somebody like Becky, who has a kid and maybe doesn't want to go to Japan for, a tour or anything? I don't know if that's a big selling point. It is a selling point of like, hey, I'm the person who can get them over the hump type of thing. Like, I can bring new eyes to this and I can make them get the million or the demo or the new, whatever it might be. Like, I think that's a challenge. And maybe that challenge is a selling point to some people. I do think, again, the biggest advantage AEW had was, hey, you can wrestle your style. You can do the things you want to do. You have the freedom here. And now it's lesser. There are obviously still advantages and disadvantages to both companies. And at the end of the day, one, we don't know any of these people. Two, it always comes down to what they want. I don't begrudge for anybody for what they want. If somebody wants a lighter schedule, then good on them. Like, if somebody wants to take the money, good on them. It all comes down to what they want and what is best for them.
Nothing to add. I agree with you. So we'll see what goes on with those three. And of course, other signings with AEW, but we have an AEW Dynamite to preview, don't we?
I guess so.
How's your voice?
It's good for now. We'll see how it is, in 5 minutes.
Well, they're in Quebec tonight, so can you do it all in French?
Absolutely not.
Well,
I can barely do it in English.
That is fair. Oh man. Anyway, it's fine. Where is this lineup? It's everywhere. Everyone's posting it, but I can't find it.
So real quickly, Senor Nerd says Drew, Becky, Seth have done so much WWE. Basic question: what else can they do? In AEW, they have an endless amount of opponents and storyline, getting paid way more with less dates. I mean, are they getting paid way more? We don't know that part.
That's the question.
That I don't know if AEW is going to spend way more. Maybe they spend a little more, but I don't know. The less dates thing, they can get it in their contract to work less dates in WWE. Roman's got that in his deal. I think people like Becky and Seth are okay working these dates, especially now that they got the bus. They can bring their kid on the road with them and everything. Like, Becky has talked about, I've listened to a lot of Becky Lynch interviews over the past 2 days. She's on a big media tour with her book coming out yesterday. I've listened to it a lot. She has said, hey, our bus is basically a giant family. It's me, it's Seth, it's Rue. The bus driver is the husband to the nanny of Rue. So
I didn't know that. That's wild.
Scoops.
Yo, that's great.
Their bus is just one big giant family. So like, I don't know if they really mind working more dates because again, they got the bus. They got basically 2 families on this bus. Seems like they do everything really well. Oh, they're obviously on the same show and stuff. So I don't know if I don't know if it is getting paid way more with less dates. And as far as what can you do in WWE, well, this is again of what they want to do. Sure, there's a lot of cool matches for Seth and Becky in AEW, but there's still cool matches for them in WWE. And also, there's still go ahead.
Sorry, I'm gonna say like let's not pretend that WWE doesn't have NXT stars moving up and down. Like, let's not pretend like WWE is just
this is
a box of opponents and that's it. Like, there are new talent coming in and out all the time.
And this is what I was my next point was for someone like Becky, she has said this as well. When she went back to NXT, she wanted to work with Lyra, Tiffany, Roxanne, all these different people, because she wants to elevate the next generation so that, and give back in that way that really they didn't have in NXT. The women didn't have that when they were in NXT because the women who were part of the first generation had kind of moved out, and like Nikki Bella wasn't going back to NXT to work with them or anything. Like, that's why NXT was the revolution, right? And now Becky has said, like, we got to make these younger stars the same way men of the past. Like, Seth got to work with John Cena. Seth got to work with Triple H. Those are guys who would headline WrestleManias before they even, worked with Seth. Now we can do that. I can work with Lyra. Charlotte can work with Lyra. Bianca. Like, these women now, they can learn from women who have actually main evented a WrestleMania, actually main evented a Raw. And that's a selling point for them. I think Seth, he's got his own school. That's a selling point for him too. He went to NXT for a couple of title defenses, at least one. But like, they working with the next generation is actually a selling point for some of these people instead of like, hey, let me just go face Will Ospreay in a cool match.
Yeah, but also like you can work Ring of Honor.
Yeah, you can work Ring of Honor.
Sure. Yeah. I'm trying to give both sides. I will give both sides because it's not like AEW doesn't have young developing talent that they have on TV. And that's kind of like I'm just adding like it can go both ways. I think because they've been part of the WWE system for so long, maybe that to them, the giving back is helping people new to that system learn that system so that they can come up and build within it.
Yeah. Both sides have selling points. You're foolish if you don't think that. If you think that just like, oh, they've done everything they can done in WWE. They've done everything they can done in AEW. There's always something to do. Always something to do.
Yeah, you can go to Puerto Rico. Like our pal Chris Mass. That was a good interview. Who am I kidding? All right, AEW Dynamite tonight.
All right.
From Quebec City, from the Videotron Center, the Centre Videotron.
Do they have any Canadians on this show?
Have any what?
Do they have any Canadians on this show?
They do not.
Oh, okay.
Evil Uno will probably work Ring of Honor. So there's that. By the way, my Evil Uno interview is dropping soon, so keep your eyes out.
All right. Man, they don't have any. Their rankings are back after tonight, Joel. Did you see that? Did you hear about that?
Can we talk about how many people tweeted at Tony? How are the rankings going to be done moving forward? And everyone's like, they're not. They're going to be done at the whim of a storyline. That's what we're doing. Oh, just wonderful stuff. Let me tell you.
All right, here we go, everybody. We got a great show for you tonight. It's AEW Dynamite live on TBS at 8 p.m. Eastern from the Centra Videotron Canadian in Quebec City, Quebec, Canada, Quebec. The Quebecers will not be on the show, but you know who will be on this show? It'll be in the AEW World Tag Team Championship Tournament quarterfinal. We got the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, taking on Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn. It's a rematch from the first ever AEW World Tag Team Tournament. It is going to go down live tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, only on TBS, only on AEW Dynamite. It's the Young Bucks taking on Private Party. Also in the World Tag Team Tournament quarterfinal, it's going to be the Best Friends, Orange Cassidy and Trim Beretta. They're coming off a great victory in the wild card matchup. Now they're going to take on the ROH Tag Team Champions, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. 2 AEW Tag Team Tournament quarterfinal matches tonight on AEW Dynamite TBS. Plus, in a fatal 4-way match, it's going to be for the TBS #1 Contender Tournament Championship quarterfinal matchup. All great things in the world of AEW. The winner will face Julia Hart for the AEW TBS Championship at AEW Dynasty. Only on pay-per-view, April 21st. It's going to be Anna Jay, Willow Nightingale, Sky Blue, Chris Statlander. It's going to be a 4-way matchup. The winner will face Julia Hart for the AEW TBS Championship at AEW Dynasty, April 21st. Live only on pay-per-view. But this 4-way match between Anna Jay, Willow Nightingale, Sky Blue, Chris Statlander, it's going to go down live tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, only on AEW Dynamite. I did a record skip right there. AEW Dynamite on TBS, 8 p.m. Eastern. Mercedes Moné, CEO. Mercedes Moné getting commentary for this great matchup in the AEW Women's Division to determine the #1 contender for the AEW TBS Championship. Live at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on AEW Dynamite on TBS. Plus, it's going to be for the #1 contenders match. That's right. The winner will be ranked #1 in the very important, highly anticipated double return, triple return AEW rankings. It's going to be Swerve Strickland taking on Konosuke Takeshita. That's right. The winner will be the #1 ranked wrestler in the highly important, highly contested, hotly debated AEW rankings. Swerve Strickland, Konosuke Takeshita, even though Takeshita lost to Will Ospreay at AEW Revolution. It doesn't matter if he beats Swerve Strickland tonight. He'll be the #1 ranked wrestler. That might Swerve Strickland, Konosuke Takeshita will be AEW Dynamite mission only on TBS. And matchup. It's a dream matchup for a lot of fans. It is going to be Will Ospreay taking on Katsuyori Shibata. That's right. Just weeks away from his big matchup against Bryan Danielson at AEW Dynasty, live only on pay-per-view on April 21st. Will Ospreay will take on Katsuyori Shibata live 8 p.m. Eastern tonight on AEW Dynamite, only on TBS. All of that, and Chris Jericho has some proposition for a hook. I forgot we booked that thing, but it's going to be there. There's a Canadian on this show. It's Chris Jericho. You won't want to miss that. You won't want to miss all these great matches. We got Will Ospreay and Katsuyori Shibata. That's a dream match. We got Swerve Strickland and Konosuke Takeshita to see who will be the #1 ranked wrestler in the very important AEW rankings. We got Anna Jay, Willow Nightingale, Sky Blue, Chris Statlander, and a 4-way match to determine the #1 contender for the AEW TBS Championship to see who will face Julia Hart at AEW Dynasty, live only on pay-per-view on April 21st. They're going to be battling in a 4-way match with Mercedes Moné, one of the biggest signings, one of the most important signings in the history of AEW. Mercedes Moné is going to be our commentary. Plus, we got 2 AEW Tag Team Tournament matches. It's going to be the Best Friends, Orange Cassidy and Trim Beretta, taking on the Undisputed Kingdom, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. And it's going to be the Young Bucks taking on Private Party. All of that, so much more, live tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, AEW Dynamite, live, only on TBS. Thank you to all the great AEW fans around the world. Justified, this is awesome chant.
CEO, CEO, CEO. CEO. Anyway, that'll be fun. Is Jeremy? Jeremy's always okay. Welcome to every single Wednesday on this program. This is what we do. Better.
Hold on.
Yeah. Okay. You doing
Good.
okay?
Good.
Just remember, folks. Always remember. This is why we do it. We do it for moments like that. We do it for moments like this. Just remember. We're back on Friday.
Allegedly.
I am not.
Oh, you're not?
I am not. I will be in a car headed to Ottawa. Sorry. Typically I would, but unfortunately, you'll be stuck with SP3 on Friday.
I mean, is that confirmed?
No, but I mean, it's.
Oh, I got to ask him.
Do you, though? I feel like you just do this and he shows up.
No, that's Roman's music.
Sorry,
plays.
Roman with the bloodline. Right. Sorry, my bad. Anyway, someone else will be here in replacement of me on Friday. Monday is up in the air. We'll figure it out. Maybe CEO. Maybe we'll get Mercedes Moné. Everyone go tweet Mercedes Moné and ask her if she wants to co-host the show with Jeremy Lambert on Friday.
Do you think I could get SB3 to do the CEO dance on Friday? You won't do it, you coward.
No, but I think you could do it. I think you can get SB3 to do it. Yeah, I think he'll do it. We'll see what happens. But anyway, till then, do we have anything else to plug? Indeed has a bunch of guests on tonight.
I do.
They got Shaza, Laney Luck, and who's the third one? I forgot. It was I gotta look it up. I'm sorry.
Wow, Joel, get it together.
My World. So there you go. They're gonna be live 6:00 on this channel, and of course the audio gets dropped later on. So go check them out. They're a fun show. They work hard. Go support Indeed, would you?
Do you think I get Drew McIntyre to host the show with me on Friday?
Listen, only if he will say hello to all you cool cats and kittens. That's the only thing I want.
I'll bring that up with him in a heartbeat. That's the first question I'm gonna ask Drew. It's like, do you really think that was a good idea?
I need it so bad. Please, everybody go ask Drew McIntyre to come and do the show. And then we can bring on our Drew McIntyre, Alex McCarthy.
Well, Alex McCarthy. I think he's traveling to Philly for WrestleMania. So
of course he is. Yeah. Can't believe they sent him to Australia for Elimination Chamber. That alone was bonkers.
What a bit.
Right? God, the man just goes everywhere. Anyway, we're going places. Tell your friends. Leave a thumbs up on the video. And of course, subscribe to us here. Fightful Overbooked. I was about to give the full thing, but then you did the CEO dance. Now I'm screwed. Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, we'll be back. I am at Joel Pearl, JOELPERL. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, we will see you in the next one.